Have you ever seen a brilliant AI project just completely fall flat? You know the ones. They've got all the money, the smartest people, the coolest tech, but they just don't deliver. Well, it turns out the clues are often hiding in plain sight, right from the very beginning. So let's start our investigation.
So what is that number one culprit, the prime suspect in so many of these failed projects? Is it a faulty algorithm, a fuzzy business goal, maybe not enough budget? Well, the real answer might surprise you with just how simple it is.
That's it. It all comes back to the data. See, bad data, misunderstood data, or just plain wrong data can derail even the most amazing AI idea before it even gets off the ground. So today, we are putting on our detective hats.
We're officially cracking open the case file on Phase 2 of the Cognitive Project Management for AI methodology, what we call CPMAI for short. And this is the all-important data understanding phase. This is where we stop talking and start getting our hands dirty with the raw evidence.
So, as a quick refresher, CPMAI is this fantastic 6-phase roadmap for managing AI projects from start to finish. We've already covered Phase 1, business understanding, and today we are laser-focused on this critical second phase, data understanding, where the real investigation truly begins. All right, here's our case file for today. First, we'll talk about why this phase is so important. Then we'll get into gathering and profiling our evidence, really interrogating it for quality. And finally, getting our case ready for the next phase of the operation.
Okay, so why this whole data detective thing? Why does it matter so much? Because this phase is your first and honestly your best chance to stop a project from failing. It's about really digging into the data you have before you waste a single minute or dollar building something with it. It's all about being proactive, not reactive.
And this quote just nails it. Skipping this step is a recipe for disaster. I mean, think about it. You could build the most technically incredible AI model the world has ever seen, but if it's built on bad data, you've just spent a massive amount of time, effort, and money getting the perfect answer to the completely wrong question.
All right, let's get to our first task. I want you to picture this. You're a detective arriving at a crime scene. The first thing you do isn't to try and solve the case, right? No. You secure the area, you identify every piece of potential evidence, and you log everything meticulously. That's exactly what initial data collection is.
So, in simple terms, this task is all about going out and getting the data you planned for back in Phase 1. It's about getting your hands on all that raw material, the databases, the server logs, the spreadsheets, you name it, that's going to be the bedrock of your entire project.
Now, this part is absolutely crucial. You have to document everything in what's called an initial data collection report. Think of it as your evidence log. For every single data source, you write down where you got it, how you got it, and, this is so important, any problems you ran into. Did a server timeout? Is a whole quarter's worth of data missing? Writing this down now will save you from so many headaches down the road. Trust me. Okay, we've got our evidence bagged and tagged. What's next? We start profiling. You can't just throw everything you found into an interrogation room. You've got to understand the basics of what and who you're dealing with. In our world, that means you have to know your suspects.
The first big thing to figure out is if you're dealing with structured or unstructured data. Structured data is your nice, clean, organized stuff. Think neat rows and columns in a spreadsheet. It's like a clean witness list. And then there's unstructured data. This is the Wild West. Emails, images, social media posts. It's messy, chaotic, like a big pile of raw, unedited interview notes. Both are useful, but you gotta know what you're up against.
So all this profiling work gets documented in what CPMAI calls the Data Description Report. Basically, it's a wrap sheet for each of your data sets. You ask the basic questions. What format is it in? How much of it is there? Are we talking 1,000 records or 1 billion? What does each column actually mean? And, the big one, does this data even have a shot at answering our original business question? Okay, we've collected the evidence, we've profiled our key suspects. Now for the really fun part, the interrogation. This is where we have to verify if our data is reliable, if it has integrity. We need to ask the tough questions and find out if our data is telling us the whole truth. It really all comes down to this one big question. You're not just looking at the data anymore, you're looking for the story it's trying to tell you. And just like any good detective, your job is to find the inconsistencies, the gaps, the holes in that story. And to find those holes, we follow a few key lines of questioning. First, completeness. Do we have all the pieces we need? Next, correctness.
Is the information actually right, or is it full of typos and errors? Then, missing values. Are there big gaps in our records? And finally, formatting. Is everything consistent and actually usable? The answers to all these questions? That becomes your data quality report.
Now check this out. This is a classic example of what we're looking for. You and I can look at CA, California, and California, and we know instantly it's the same place, right? No problem. But to a machine learning model, no way. Those are three totally separate, completely different locations. It can't group them together. And just like that, your model's understanding is fractured and inaccurate. Finding these kinds of patterns is a huge part of the job.
Another huge culprit you'll find are missing values. I love this term, silent witnesses. These are the gaps in your evidence. A customer record is missing an age, or a product is missing a price. If you have too many of these silent witnesses, they can totally poison your results, leading your model to make biased or just flat-out wrong conclusions.
So, we've done it. We've gone through all this detective work, collecting, profiling, interrogating. We now have a really deep understanding of our data. We know its strengths, its weaknesses, all its little secrets. And now, finally, we can start building our case and preparing for the next phase, actually building a model.
And really, if you remember just one thing, let it be this. Everything we've done so far isn't just busy work. A good data investigation directly informs every single thing that comes next. It literally dictates how you're going to prepare the data and how you'll build your model.
For example, one of the very first things you'll do is strategically split up your evidence. You'll take a big chunk, maybe 70%, and use that to train the model. That's how it learns. Then you'll use a smaller piece for validation to fine-tune it, and you'll keep one last, untouched piece for testing, which gives you a totally unbiased report card on how well your model actually performs on new data it's never seen before.
And hey, remember that data quality report we spent all that time putting together? Well, that thing is now your blueprint for the next phase, data preparation. All those problems we found, the missing values, the weird formats, the repeated errors, that report is now your official to-do list for cleaning and preparing the data to get it ready for trial. So there you have it. The investigation is wrapped up. We've gathered the evidence, we've profiled it, we've interrogated it, we know the story it's telling, and we know exactly where the holes are. The only question left is, are you ready to take that evidence and prepare it for trial? We'll find out next time when we dive into Phase 3, data preparation.